welcome back. If you caught the first episode to Quit Like a Leader podcast, I'm your host, Brittany Young, and I'm so excited to bring today's topic to you all. And that is alcohol. It's a business strategy until it's not. So, welcome in, grab your drinks, not alcohol, grab some food, take a take a seat, listen where you get your podcasts. And this is going to be an off the cuff conversation that I've had many times, not just with clients, but within certain sectors of business. And I think that this conversation warrants itself its own podcast because it is such a high, prolific topic that we ignore, especially within the business sector. I want to just say a happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, from single mothers to foster and adopted mothers to mothers who have had miscarriages, women that have babies that are young, that are old, that have lost children, especially to things like addiction. I see you. I hear you. I love you. I support you. I am one of you. I have a 4-year-old and I have a bun in the oven right now. I'm due in August. And it is the greatest and hardest gift that God has given us to not only minister to our children, but to be a mother and to be all things to someone else who cannot be what they need, especially in their younger years. And so I take not only full responsibility to be a mother, but full credit to be an awesome one. And I love it. It is the most rewarding, selfless job on this planet. And I'm thankful for each and every one of us who continues to show up and unapologetically love, unconditionally love, and not expect anything in return. So go us. We just celebrated that here in the United States. The last episode, we touched on the lies of high performers and how alcohol can be such a deceptive liar, a serpent, a devil within us when it comes to performing at such a high level, either as a business owner or within a company. And we talked about how, you are the one that's providing for your family. You're the one that is bringing home the money, and you have this high powered job and why it's never enough. And I talked to you a little bit about my own personal story. So if you didn't catch episode one, I highly recommend you go back and listen to that, The Lie of High Performance. This is a mini podcast series that I am doing. It's 5 episodes, might have a bonus in here as well, where we talk about, how to quit like a leader. And that's coming up in the next episode, why I chose that particular title, why quit like a leader in the first place. What is a leader? And why quitting is actually a good thing. So, today's episode, we're going to get into how alcohol is continuously used as a business strategy until it is not. And I will not go into the history of alcohol, but what I will say around it is if you have a chance, go back and look at when it began, back in the 17th century, back in the 1800s, back in the 1900s, early 1900s, when it was starting to get banned and people were pissed that it was getting banned because they used it for socialization purposes. They used it to numb their feelings, very similar to the issues that we have today. And it is still a crutch that we rely upon not only in the business world to make connections, to build our confidence, to have some sort of control, such as closing deals or making sales or what have you. But alcohol is also something that men back in the day didn't realize was going to be a problem until the, you know, men of AA stepped in the 1930s and said, "Hey, I'm an alcoholic. I have a problem and I need some help with this." And by the grace of God, a lot of them were saved from that addiction, not delivered from their iniquities or transgressions, but they did see an uptick in people saying, "Hey, I've got a problem and I need some help, and I would love nothing more than to be in a community." And so what we see today, the true definition of an alcoholic gets skewed. And it's often because there's certain people out there, like in the recovery industry, who put a label on this is the definition of addiction, this is the definition of an alcoholic or a drug addict, no more, no less. And I don't get down with that. I get down with the fact that um, if the substance that I'm putting in my body alters my brain chemistry, I have a problem. If it changes me in a way that makes me more emotional, more angry, more sad, sappy, happy, what have you, there's an issue there that it is chemically changing my brain. That is a simple definition, and that is as far as I will go when it comes to having a problem. It doesn't matter if you have one drink or 20. It doesn't matter if you wake up hungover or not. What matters is it physically, chemically, and emotionally changing you? And for me, the answer was yes. So today's episode, we're going to look at how alcohol has affected those within the business sector and how we continue to use it at such a high speed chase, if you will, to the point where people are looking for something new. They're looking for a different strategy. And those are the folks that get left behind because they're not using their participation trophy anymore. And they're so sick and tired of equating their performance with participation in a happy hour or in a drunk incubator in a setting in which a company says, this is the only way we can get people to loosen up and get to know one another. I call BS on all of that. Now, with that being said, you can be a social drinker and it not change you chemically in any which way. You could go to a party and have a few, and, hopefully you're not driving home, you have a driver, and you're okay. And there are people out there like that. I am not one of them. I am a drunk. Not anymore. I am a former alcoholic. I close deals. I have done multi-million dollar deals. I have had thousands of clients, not just within the pharmaceutical sector and the chemical sectors in which I worked, but within the recovery sector that I have found myself in on and off since 2017. I have worked with some very high profile people in the sales world, as well as the financial institutions in the great state of Texas and beyond in the United States. And I can tell you right now that if you fit in to a business or you own a business, you're the one doing all the things, right? You're the closer, you're showing up, you're the one that's getting the alcohol ready for happy hours or parties or whatever it is. You're the one signing the deals, you're the one hiring the team. You're freaking exhausted. And unfortunately, you turn to the bottle because as a business owner, you don't know how to slow down. It's go, go, go. And that's all you know. And you're conditioned based upon either your programming from college or previous businesses that you either worked in or on, or a sector that you find yourself in, such as finance, that it's go, go, go. There is no, absolutely none, no way that you can just hit the pause button and say, I'm going to take a break, right? It's like parenting. There is no off switch. You are constantly a parent till the day that you pass away or the day that your kid um, passes or writes you off, right? There is no way that you hit that off switch because why would you? And it's the same with people like myself who have drunk most of their careers away. And why slow down when your performance is based on you drinking or based on you showing up to these after parties, happy hours, Christmas parties, karaoke nights? This is how we get together. This is how we socialize. This is how we understand one another. And alcohol not only is it used as a crutch, but it's used in such a way where we feel in the United States, at least, I don't know about other cultures, but we feel like if we don't have it at a party, even these freaking children's parties that I go to, and I'm seeing liquor bottles, we're having a 5-year-old birthday party and there's liquor on the table, and I'm scratching my head going, is this for real? Like it's 11 o'clock in the morning. What's going on here? It's as if we can't socialize or be us without drinking. And I'm here to tell you that is such crap. I have been sober for 11 and a half years. I go to parties. I do go to happy hours in networking events. I bring my 40-ounce water bottle. I don't even look at the bar. If I smell alcohol, it makes me want to vomit, especially while pregnant, because ew. I don't want to be associated with that part of my life anymore. It was damaging enough when I was in it. Why would I want to recreate those scenarios? So, seeing liquor bottles at 11 o'clock in the morning at a 5-year-old birthday party, it's not that it angers me, it saddens me because we have conditioned ourselves to see alcohol as a tool of connection, confidence, and control. And I'm telling you right now, friends, there are other ways, there's different strategies to not only use, but implement in your business, in your life, in your relationships. You do not need alcohol to be part of those experiences. And I can testify in front of you right now that when God came and saved me and saved my life, I put down the booze and I was in a corporate setting. I was working at a chemical company as a sales rep, and I had had enough. I could not do it anymore. When I quit and I chose to no longer ever pick up again, that changed the trajectory of my whole sales strategy, the way I presented, the way I sold. And my territory alone went from a little less than 100 clients to over 300 clients, from a couple million to making 8.5 million in 2.5 years for that company. These are with orphan sales accounts that I was working with. Prior to this, going out getting drunk with these clients, taking them to meetings, having steak and wine at lunch, doing all the typical things that requires you to get the sale. But when we take a look at what's really going on underneath the surface, and if you own a business and you're one of those people that feel like the only way that you can connect with your folks is a happy hour, I recommend you look at the receipts. I recommend that you take a look at how much you're spending on those weekly, monthly, quarterly parties, whatever you want to call them, Christmas party. How much are you spending? How much could you be putting back into the business versus spending the laundry list of alcohol and feeling like, oh, this is the way that we're connecting when you know that that's a bunch of lies, right? So when I got really serious and I said goodbye to alcohol, not only did my sales increase, but my experiences increased. I never felt like I needed some sort of false confidence or way of being anymore. I started to gain self-esteem, trust within myself, believing that I could make a sale without a bottle of booze. I did not feel like I was constantly striving to be in control, and nor did I feel like I had to be part of the norm, right? And the norm is that culture that gets instilled within a workplace to create these happy hours. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into these three C's of connection, confidence, and control, and then talk about industry normalization as well. When we look at our culture, okay, and this is strictly here in the United States, like I said, I can't speak for other cultures. When we look across the map, okay, the highest booze state in the US is Wisconsin. I live in Texas. We're not far behind. But Wisconsin almost mirrors Ireland, where there is a bar or a pub on every corner. You have major colleges in the state of Wisconsin. It's frickin' freezing in the winter. What are you going to do? Ice, fish, and drink. What also are you going to do? Hunt and drink. Drive drunk. No one's going to catch you. You're in the backwoods. Not a problem. It's -40. I'll just take a beer with me on the road. I'll go to the pub. Madison, Wisconsin, when I was there, I was visiting for work and I looked around and I saw a bar almost on every corner. Like, how do these places survive? They must have thousands of students at the University of Wisconsin. They just let anybody in. Doesn't matter your age. I don't know, but that was my assumption. And we have been culturally conditioned to use alcohol as a social lubricant to break down barriers, to loosen up, right? We use that term like, oh, come and just, have a drink with us. It'll help you loosen up. It'll help you get to know other people. I call such BS on that because what alcohol is doing is creating three types of issues: fun, fun with problems, and then problems, right? So you have fun, you're drinking, all is well. The next morning you wake up, you have fun, you had fun, you can talk about your stories, but you have problems the next day. You're hungover, you can't get out of bed. Maybe you slept with somebody that you didn't want to, or you realized that you had a little bit too much. You have no idea what you said, who you called, what you were doing. And then what that leads is to further problems. And that loosening up and breaking down these barriers is not helping you in the business sector by any means. You are a fool if you think that you can get away with drinking every weekend or schmoozing with these clients and taking them out places and getting them drunk. You're not winning their business. And you're certainly not going to win them in a way that's genuine or authentic. You are ruining the relationship because if you take the alcohol away, you're going to realize that you are not the same person and neither are they. And they could be the biggest hearted, loveliest person, but put a little booze in them and they are nasty and they are mean and they are grumpy. And that was me. Put a little booze in me, and I am going to fight the entire bar and get kicked out. That is a problem. It chemically changed my brain. So when we say, oh, just loosen up, break down the walls, have conversations with people, sure. To the point, though, that you don't really recognize what you're saying or realize what might come out of your mouth is a complete lie, or this false persona that you think is okay when you're drinking, that alter ego, that is the devil at work. That is a demon possessing your body. There's a reason alcohol is called spirits. It is possessing you to the point where you are no longer in your own body. You are inebriated to the point where something has taken you over and has decided to put your spirit aside, bring themselves into alignment with your body, and take you over. Are you okay with that? And when that got explained to me in that way, I was like, oh, okay. So, in other words, I am not operating at my best and highest self. Got it. And there was no way that I could continue on like that. So, we have to, it's a must that we start to take a look at our conditioning within our culture, within the United States, within our business, right? If you're one of those business owners that's running a multi six, seven, eight figure company, and you're starting to see that your employees are throwing these happy hours or throwing these bowling parties with champagne or whatever the case may be, and you're seeing one side of them when in reality that's a false bravado. It really makes you question it. It should really make you stop and question everything. I mean, question everything regardless. Different topic for a different episode. But please do yourself a favor and start to see these conditions are really the devil at work. Okay. The second thing that we have is this false confidence. Okay. So we can have confidence. Confidence is really about trusting self, understanding that you can trust you. You can love yourself, you can trust yourself, you can believe in yourself. To me, that's full confidence. But there's false confidence, and alcohol gives you that false confidence. Why? Because it helps loosen up the body. It eases you into conversations. You feel bolder. You feel like I can negotiate. I can win this deal. I can close this sale with just some liquid courage, with just a little bit of beer or wine or liquor within my body, and I can make this happen. Meanwhile, the person that you're selling to sees right through the BS. So the next day, when you pick up the phone and you're like, hey, Charlie, here's the contract. And Charlie goes, I ain't signing that. What I saw from you last night was a complete and utter disgrace. Why would I want to work with somebody like that? This is really who you are. Why can't you display this? And you know what's really funny? Last week I got a phone call from somebody that I worked with close to 7 years ago. And like I said, I've been sober for 11 and a half years, so I was sober when I was working with this guy. Turns out the gentleman is working with people like myself, addicts and alcoholics, who are in need of alternative treatments other than rehab or AA. And they're looking to him to create supplementation and potential pharmaceutical products that don't make them sick and don't make them rely upon the drugs to get sober. And we had such an interesting conversation, especially around false confidence and how it is portrayed in the business world, and how we think that we're having such a genuine conversation with somebody else. And in reality, it's not genuine at all. It's effed up. And we have this um, way of portraying ourselves when we're drinking. And then when we put the bottle down, people see us for who we really are. So, who are you when there's no alcohol in your system? And are you okay with that person? And that was a tough question someone asked me 11 years ago. Are you okay with the person that you can see in the mirror? The answer was no. And I had to change everything about me, inside and out, because I was giving off false hope to everybody, promises I couldn't keep. And now, when I look back at my life and I look at myself now, I can hold myself accountable to a certain extent. I need God to help me as well. But I am disciplined and committed to creating trust within myself. And I work on that every single day. It is a constant surrender. But having false confidence, mm, nope, no, thank you. I don't want to live in that culture anymore. And I don't think you do either. Then we have the third C, which is control. Now, this is my favorite topic because when clients come my way, I find it really hilarious that they'll say to me, okay, this is how not only do I want to get sober and stay sober, but this is how I want it to line up. And it never works on our behalf. We are not in control. You and I are the backseat children when our parents are driving, when God's driving the bus, we're in the backseat. You can either choose to become a backseat driver, which no parent nor God likes, or you can choose to sit there, look out the window, and see what the world has to offer, right? When you decide that you are no longer in control, your stress melts away, your energy changes, your emotions, not only do they become less controlling over you, but you start to manage them in a way where you're not masking anymore. You're letting it all hang out. And at the same time, you're not living in those emotions. You process them and you move on. Okay. It's like a cloud. You see the cloud, it's going to bypass, all is well. You have to understand that you don't sit on that cloud and live in that emotion for all eternity. When we're drinking, those three things kick in immediately. We have stress, right? We feel like, oh, I have to control this stress. I have to control it with my alcohol. But the more that you drink, the more stress you bring on. It's not the opposite. Oh, I'm going to reduce my stress. Absolutely not. You are capitalizing on stress. You are allowing stress to take you over and take you down. When it comes to your energy, your entire persona shifts the second that you put alcohol into your body. Again, it chemically changes your brain. So if it's doing that to you, or should I say for you, you're going to try to control that. I can only have 5 drinks tonight. I can only have 1 glass of wine because I know that energetically it's going to change me. I know in certain situations how I might behave, and I know that's not reality. And am I going to allow my energy, which is one of the most potent things about me, get skewed by a bottle of Jack, right? Think about that. What does it look like to take your energy back? It's taking your power back. It's giving yourself that trust and confidence that you don't have when you're drinking. And then thirdly, we're looking at emotions. I can't tell you how many women in the bathroom after, a couple of drinks are sobbing over an ex-boyfriend from 10 years ago. Why? because they never dealt with that emotion in the first place. Remember, alcohol equals spirits. Those spirits, those demons, they come up when we are drinking. They take over. It is not us in our body. We are not in control at that point. And so we are not able to realize, hey, I've got the emotion of anger, and I am not capable of dealing with it right now. No person, even if you had one drink, seven drinks, it doesn't matter, can come up to you and say, I'm emotionally unstable right now and I need to leave. I have never met somebody that's drinking ever interrupt their drinking to say such a thing. It's not possible. The next day, there's regret of the emotion, and then they wallow and they sit in it and they drink a little bit more to ease the pain or the hangover. But never in that moment are we like, oh, I'm emotional. I might want to take care of this. No, we don't realize we're even emotionally unstable in that moment. Nor do some of us realize the next day. And FYI, alcohol stays in your system, in your bloodstream for 30 days. So if you're drinking every weekend, you're a drunk. Okay. And I can say that with full confidence because it never goes away. It stays in your hair for 30 days. People think, oh, I just pee it out 24 hours, it's gone. No, honey, it's in your body, whether you like it or not. And so it's going to control you, it's going to take over. And what it does emotionally, too, is it creates this burnout in us. It creates imposter syndrome, it creates perfectionism. If I don't drink like everybody else, I'm not going to get the promotion. If I don't drink like everybody else, I'm not going to get invited to the parties. I am not going to make my sales quota. Or if I am the business owner and I'm not throwing a happy hour, everybody's going to get mad at me for not pleasing them in this way because this is the only way that they get to connect. Which brings me to industry normalization. We have literally conditioned our culture within the work and business sector to believe that performance is tied to participation. I became a very good sales rep after I stopped drinking. Probably the best one out of the group. I had more clarity, I had more confidence, I trusted myself, I made incredible connections. Who calls somebody 7.5 years later and asks them for products? That's unheard of. That's the impact that I made on somebody after I stopped drinking, not while I was drinking. The people that made connections with me while I was drinking, I owe tremendous amends to, and there's plenty of them. But the fact that we have allowed performance to equal participation. If I don't go to this happy hour, I might lose my job. If I don't show up with a drink in my hand in front of all of my colleagues, I'm doing it wrong. I'm not enough. And you know what's really funny? When I show up with my water bottle and I go to these happy hours and people say, are you drinking? And I'm like, no. And then they question why, which I always found funny. I used to say, oh, it's because I'm an alcoholic, and I would walk away. And now I just say, water tastes better, or I'm driving. No one needs to know my background or my story unless I'm in an intimate relationship with them, such as a friendship or my marriage or a believer to believer. And I can share my testimony with them. But I'm not going to sit there and have small talk with somebody who's drinking 5 sheets to the wind, sees me with my water bottle and goes, did you have a problem? Why does it matter? You're not going to remember me the next day. But again, our brains are chemically dependent on alcohol. We think if I don't do X, I don't receive Y. That's not what this life is about. If I stripped you down, took everything away, your house burns down tomorrow, your computer goes, your wallet goes, your car keys, your car, you have nothing left. Nothing. Who are you? Who are you? Do you even know? And that is the question I want to leave you with because a lot of us don't know the answer to that and have to go on a spiritual journey to figure out who we are on the other side. You can do that in rehab. You can do that in AA. You can do that working with somebody like me who does sobriety coaching. You can do that introspectively on your own and come up with some sort of answer. But if everything was gone, every material piece doesn't physically exist, and it's just you and a power of your understanding, aka God or Jesus for some of us, who are you? And that is the question of the day. Do you feel like you need to perform in order to receive? Do you feel like I have to participate or else I'm not going to get what I need? And if so, I recommend you take a hard look in the mirror and you answer these questions. Who are you? If I stripped everything down, who are you? Why are you here? And what do you really need? Because I know it's not alcohol. My friend, thank you so much for tuning in today. I brought a lot of fire. I felt like this was needed, a conversation that we're not having. And if you're a business owner or you're someone highly respected in the business sector, and you're finding yourself pouring drinks at the end of the day, feeling like that's solving the problem when you know that it's not, we need to have a call or at least a chat. And it doesn't matter if it's alcohol, marijuana, recreational drugs, whatever the case, it's all the same. It's all an addictive behavior. And we got to get to the root cause as to why you're behaving in such a way. And if this resonates with you, if this particular conversation resonates with you, feel free to comment on this video on how it's resonating and what sparked you to watch this and what you'd like to learn more about not only this particular conversation, but potentially this podcast, Quit Like a Leader. So tune in for tomorrow's episode. We're going to talk about, um, like I said, Quit Like a Leader, why it exists, and how I came up with that, and a few more things, such as, being pregnant, burnout, and feeling like surrender was the only answer for me at the time when I was drinking and beyond. I look forward to seeing you then, and I will talk to you very soon. I see you, I hear you, I love you.